Good morning, everybody. As you know, today is Tu Bishvat, the holiday of trees. And here we are in our backyard in Yerushalayim. And look at this incredible tree, this lemon tree here, and there's an olive tree over there. And it's just an incredible thing to be in the land celebrating this very special day. Of course, during the Shemitah year, the sabbatical year. And I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts. This will probably be a little bit longer than my typical videos, but I wanted to share a few things with you as it relates to Tu Bishvat, the holiday of trees. So first of all, when I walk around my neighborhood here and I see like these lemon trees, or I see grapefruit trees, orange trees, olives, dates, grapes, unbelievable amount of trees growing in this neighborhood and all around the hills of Jerusalem out there. You can see the hills of Jerusalem. And it's not only is it a wonderful thing to see so much food being produced in this country, but it's much deeper than that. The Talmud tells us, how do we know, how can we expect Mashiach, the arrival of the Mashiach and the redemption? What's one of the signs, what's one of the indicators that we are finally at that final stage of history where peace will reign and the Jewish people will return to the land? How do we know when is that going to be? Well, one of the biggest signs is when, after 2,000 years of being dormant and lying asleep and not producing anything, that the land will once again produce abundance of fruit. The trees in the hills of Jerusalem and the hills of Israel will again produce their fruits, and the Jewish people will return to reap those fruits and to enjoy them. So when I come here and I see this, lemon, right, and these beautiful trees in our backyard, I realize that we're not just looking at trees, we're looking at literally the redemption that's taking place before our very eyes. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing that I wanted to share with you about trees, the Torah tells us ki adam eitz hasadeh, that a human being in many, many ways is similar to a tree. And I was thinking about this last night, and there's so many things that you can compare, so many different ways you can compare human beings to trees. But one of the things I realized about a tree is, a lot of times in Israel, you can buy a tree, and you can do this anywhere. You can buy a tree like in the nursery that's been planted, and the tree might be 2, 3, 4 years old, and what do? You uproot the tree. Or even if you have a tree in your yard and you want to move it, you uproot the tree and you bring it somewhere else and you plant it in another place. Trees can be replanted. And you know what? So can human beings. We are not stuck where we are. If we find ourselves somewhere where we don't want to be, if we're not in the place in our lives that we want to be, either physically or emotionally or spiritually or whatever it is, if we're somewhere that we don't want to be, guess what? We don't have to stay there, because we're like trees. We can pick ourselves up and we can replant ourselves, and we can put ourselves exactly in the place that we really, truly want to be. And that's an incredible lesson from trees, and that's something to keep in mind when we think about ourselves, human beings, being like trees.